It's a great honour for me to address conference today and to open this morning's education debate. We have just heard from these fantastic young people who have told us how they are pursuing their dreams. So let's all join together and applaud again what they have done already and what they will do for Britain. And let's also today affirm the cause that first brought so many of us into politics and has inspired generations of our party to devote their lives to public service, that every young person in our country has the chance to fulfil their potential. So let us agree today that we will break down all the barriers to opportunity in Britain so that no child is held back because of poverty and disadvantage, or deterred from going to the best university because of where they live or their family background. And let's also agree on this too, that no child in 21st century Britain should go to school in fear or be prevented from learning because of their race, their disability or sexuality. And so today I ask you to join us in our new campaign, that no child, and yes, no teacher too, be subject to bullying in the classroom or after school. That means no cyberbullying on mobile phones. That means no homophobic bullying in the playground. Together, let us put an end to bullying once and for all. Conference, a society reveals its character by the way it cares for children. And we can be proud of what Labour has achieved. Proud of 600,000 children taken out of poverty, over 1,100 new schools built or rebuilt and more to come, and this year our best GCSE and A-level results ever. And we could not have made this progress without all the professionals whose dedication, whose expertise and hard work day in, day out make such a difference. So let us today thank the people who have the most important job of all, Britain's hard-working teachers. Conference, we know the children in their classrooms are our country's future, and I am determined that in those classrooms our teachers will have the authority and support they need to get on and teach. And so that all our children can get on and learn, we must back heads and teachers, giving them the power to tackle truancy and enforce discipline. Colleagues, the partnership today between government, between teachers and support staff is critical. And I pay tribute to my predecessors, the teaching unions and associations and employers for making it work. That partnership today is strong, and over the next year, I want to make it stronger still. And I've also seen with my own eyes, as for over a year, I sat in a primary school class every Monday morning, reading with 9-year-olds. I have seen how dedicated teaching assistants and support staff are transforming what happens in the classroom and liberating our teachers to focus on doing the best for every child. And so today, Jim Knight, the Schools Minister, is announcing how we will now work with employers and unions to draw up a new and flexible framework for the terms and conditions of all support staff. This will give heads more options, greater freedom to manage, and it will enhance the role and position of teaching assistants even further. And Conference, we also owe so much too to all the staff and volunteers who work with young people in children's centres, in local authorities, the voluntary sector, in youth services, and also to all the governors and parents who give their time to support our schools. I don't think we stress enough how important it is that all parents are involved in the education of their children, mothers and fathers too. And because they are by far the most important influence on their children's health, happiness and aspirations, that I believe we need to do more to support parents in the difficult job of bringing up children in today's complex world. And like so many mums and dads, Yvette and I know how difficult it can be to balance work and family life, and what a difference the support of family, friends, and especially grandparents can make. And it's because we've heard the concerns of parents that Jim, that Beverly Hughes, Kevin Brennan, Andrew Adonis, and I all know we need to do more. We need to do far more to back all parents. We need to do more to tackle the causes of youth crime and transform youth services. We need more early intervention when vulnerable children and families need extra help, and more help for children in care, disabled children, and children needing speech and language therapy. So we will listen to parents and young people. We will hear their ideas and concerns, and we will act as we draw up our national children's plan. But conference, for all the progress we have made in raising standards in schools, we are still falling short. Yes, there are 100,000 more children now reaching the right level in English at 11 compared to 10 years ago, but 1 in 5 still fall short as they go to secondary school. Yes, GCSE's results are rising faster for children entitled to free school meals, but poorer children are still only half as likely to get 5 good GCSE passes. So we need to raise our sights. We cannot rest until we have an education system that is world-class, not just for some, but for all. And that means narrowing the gap and tackling the continuing inequality in our education system. And that is why it is our party which is committed to more investment in education, to raising state school spending per pupil so that it matches that of private education today, so that the best education is available for everyone and not just the few who can afford to pay. Because, conference, we know that's the Tory way. We know that when David Cameron says, "Let's stop pretending all children are the same," we know what he really means. He wants a back-to-basics family tax policy which would penalise and treat as second-class the millions of children whose parents are widowed, separated or divorced. His tax cuts for the few, paid for what he calls dramatic spending cuts, means they can't match our investment in children and won't back our plan to raise the education leaving age to 18. We know that an education system that caters only for the elite rather than needs of all is not only unjust, it's an economic disaster too. And we also know that David Willetts agreed with us. He said, "Academic selection entrenches advantage, it does not spread it." But in the face of a rebellion, David Cameron did a U-turn in 48 hours and sacked David Willetts in 48 days. And now the Tories admit they want more grammar schools and what they now call grammar streaming imposed on every school, a crude policy that would be as socially divisive as the 11+ was unfair and wrong. Conference, we know David Cameron's back to basics is back to privilege. It's back to the past, and more recently, for him, back and forth, depending upon the pressures of the day. World-class education, not for all, but for the privileged elite. That is Cameron conservatism. And conference, it should be no surprise to us. After all, who did David Cameron appoint to draw up his new economic policy? Yes, John Redwood. And who did he choose to advise him on a new family policy? Ian Duncan Smith. And who is David Cameron's chosen candidate to be Mayor of London? A gaffe-prone TV quiz show clown, a Bullingdon Club throwback to a bygone age, Boris Johnson. That's his candidate. But David, have I got news for you? We will expose day by day, week by week, in every constituency from now to the election, Tory division and confusion, spending cuts to pay for tax cuts that will put our schools and hospitals at risk. For all the gimmicks and PR, they are still the Tory party of the privileged few. And that is why, if the Labour Party did not exist today, we would have to invent it to break down the barriers that still hold so many children back. It's because our party wants every child to start secondary school ready to learn that we will expand Sure Start and deliver one-to-one tuition in all our primary schools. And for those in greatest danger of falling behind, I can announce today that alongside our Every Child a Reader and Every Child Counts programmes, we will now introduce Every Child a Writer too, so that every child can leave primary school with the 3 Rs. And it is because our party is determined to break out of the two-tier system, which has held our country back for so long, that our new diplomas for 14 to 19-year-olds will provide, for the first time, high-quality academic and vocational education that can compete with the best qualifications. But let us also be clear. All schools, faith and non-faith, academy, trusts and specialist schools alike now have a duty to promote fair admissions and promote community cohesion. And where schools are letting children down, we will act. I want local government to take on a greater strategic role in leading change and driving up standards, not school against school, but schools cooperating with each other in their area to drive up standards for all. But the test for all our reforms is through innovation and collaboration, and yes, by backing new leadership too, to replace inequality with excellence for all. That is what we mean by putting standards before structures. And let's also put behind us, once and for all, the old and sterile debate about dumbing down. I want to end young people being told that the GCSE or A-level grades they are proud of aren't worth what they used to be. I want parents, universities, employers and young people themselves to be confident that exam standards are being maintained. So today I am announcing that we will split the curriculum setting and standards monitoring role of the QCA and legislate to create a new regulator of exam standards independent of government. So, conference. This is the task ahead. Over the past 100 years, from the beginnings of our party, the Labour, cooperative and trade union movements have come together to campaign for education for all. In the 1920s, it was our movement that first said that every child, no matter what their background, should have the same right to advanced education. In the 1930s and 1940s, it was our party and our campaigning which secured a rise in the school leaving age. In the 1960s, it was Labour which pressed for the abolition of the iniquitous 11+, and now, 100 years on, it is our party, our movement, this Labour government, which will legislate to make education for all until 18 a reality for the first time in our history. Every child, the best start in life. A world-class education for all and not just a privileged elite. Breaking down barriers so all can have equal chances. That is our cause. It is the work of change, and together it can be done. Thank you.